Welcome to another episode of NYGIANTSRUSH, where we talk about Giants football 52 weeks of the year. That's right, 52 weeks. Christmas, we're here. Thanksgiving, we're here. Halloween, Columbus Day, you still celebrate that. I know that's like an anti-holiday right now. But if you celebrate it, we'll still be here talking Giants football. Lots of things to talk about. Lots of things. Why is there lots of things to talk about? Because we won. Yes, if you don't know by now, the Giants won. If you turned your TV off, or if you smashed your TV, unplugged your TV, if you threw your phone in the river, in the lake, in your pool, if you have not paid attention to any media because of how bad your brain hurt up till halftime yesterday, I want to bring you good news. And that good news is the Giants won. So let's bring in the guys. Let's chew it up. Let's get into it. It's the first win of the 2023 year. Let's bring in my man, Alex, all the way down from, I know it's crazy when I say it, but yes, he's from Texas and he's a Giants fan. We still love him. Let's bring him in. Bow. What's up?
What's going on, man? Way better to talk about the Giants this week than last week. Much better week for sure.
Without a doubt, better. Like you even sound like you got more energy in your voice.
I do, a little pep in my step.
Yeah. You
just buzzing all day.
If I didn't know any better, I would say you slept all day. You ate nothing but fruit and vegetables all day. Like you're just like in perfect mint condition. You could probably like run a marathon right now.
I feel like I could.
Well, good, because I cannot. All right, let's bring in Nails, because I know he was so excited about tonight. He sent a tweet out that says the show was at 7:00 because he wanted to start an hour early because he was so ready to talk Giants football. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So people were like, Chris is all jacked, man. Chris is jacked because the show's an hour early. The show is now.
Yep.
Here.
7 Central Time, technically.
There you go. I was on Texas time. There we go.
We don't count your time or anybody else's time. So already I've got Darius and Peter, and I see Joe. What's up, fam? I see Cold. Cold says, I'm not breaking shit. I got paid good money. I don't blame you, but there are people out there that break their stuff. I see Darius. I see Jay is rolling in the room. Crypto. Or should I see you guys piling in? Listen, gentlemen. Really cool stuff. I suck, and I know that. You don't have to tell me. But every week last year, I started the show off with the top 10 things you don't know about your New York Giants, and we did that all season long. I didn't do it last week because there was nothing you wanted to know about your New York Giants because they just sucked, right?
Fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we're going to get into like that they suck half the time and not the other half. I am a little bit of a slacker because my son had a football game. He played JV today, and we won't get all into that, but I got back late and I didn't prepare. So what I'm going to give you today is an abbreviated version of the top 10 things you don't know about your New York Giants, but today it's 6. All right. Top 6 things you didn't know about your New York Giants. In 2009, Graham Gano was signed by the Las Vegas Locomotives and he held the league in scoring. Number 2, things that you did not know about your 2023 New York Giants. It took 10 weeks last year for Kayvon Thibodeau to register his first QB hit of the 2022 season. Number 3, things that you didn't know about your 2023 New York Giants is the last time the Giants had a sack in a game was in January of 2023 during the Eagles playoff game. And could either one of you tell me who got that sack?
No. Go ahead, Alex. Take a guess.
Exactly.
I was just going to say Dex.
I'll take a guess. It was
come on, spit it out.
Jason Pinnock from the safety spot.
Steve Pinnock wasn't on the team last year.
Yes, he was. What are you talking about?
2023, he wasn't playing last year.
In 22? Yeah, they got him in training camp.
I meant, like, he wasn't in the playoff game with enough stuff. But
I don't know if he was. Okay.
But you have the right position because it was Xavier McKinney. So our defense, as you can see, our defensive linebackers in front cannot get a sack to save their life. Number 4, things that you didn't know about your 2023 New York Giants is the leader in tackles for the Giants in 2023 is Jason Pinnock. Okay.
Yes,
with 18, he also leads the team in tackles for a loss with 3. Number 5, things that you didn't know about your 2023 New York Giants is that Micah McFadden's dad is a doctor and went to Columbia. Number 6, things that you might not have known about your 2023 New York Giants is that Brian Daboll, your head coach, was born in Ontario, Canada. That's why he has a love for ice hockey. And that's going to wrap that up because I'm 4 short because I did not have time to give you 10. I've only got 6. You're okay, Chris? You look like you have a frown.
No, just go back to the Pinnock. Pinnock came last year in the end of training camp, right? Was that the question?
No, Jason Pinnock.
Yeah.
Last time the leader in the guy who had a sack.
Right.
Last time we had a sack in a game.
Right.
It was in the playoff game, Giants-Eagles, where they got smoked.
Yep.
It was January of 2023, and that sack was made by Xavier McKinney.
Xavier McKinney. Okay. Yeah, because I think it was Peter Randazzo said no, he was a Jet, Chris. But I was thinking last year, Pinnock was on the team, so I just got it wrong.
Technically, it's this year because it was January of 2023.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I don't think he had many snaps.
No.
I think McLeod was starting over, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Wink would use him on those blitz packages, it seemed like, yeah.
Well, gentlemen, let's forget all
right, let's do it.
Because the Giants, I don't even know where to begin. So let's begin at the beginning. Alex, look, great win. Let's not be too negative. Great win. I'm going to put this up here. Bing. Victory Monday. Woo! But, dude, what are you thinking? Like, it's like a half hour into the game. Does it not remind you of exactly what happened in Dallas all over again?
Yeah, I mean, and I just felt like we even had that opportunity to get down there, and wasn't it a penalty that kind of cost us, or we got sacked, and then we just kind of walked it off, and we're like, let's just go into the half like that. It was like all of the hopefulness we had of, all right, we're going to shake it off. We got the Cardinals. It was just gone immediately. And then like, I felt pretty hopeless. I thought it was just going to be another blowout. And the fact that they were able to claw their way back was awesome. But yeah, the first half was just nothing went right at all. It was just another continuation of the Dallas game.
Chris, why?
Josh Dobbs.
Chris, why? What?
Yeah, that's
what is missing? What was missing for the first 6 quarters of the 2023 season? Is there anything that you could give us that could potentially enlighten us?
Well, I can give you maybe a Cowboy hangover from last week. I mean, you're talking about a team that hasn't even had a turnover yet, right? We still haven't had a turnover. I think we're -4 in the turnover ratio. But it seemed like the way they were shredding us with Connor, guys open. It was, I don't want to say they were sleepwalking, but it just, boy, they didn't look physical. They just, it was almost the wake-up call they needed at halftime, I guess. But, man, it just looked like it felt like a preseason game playing against a bunch of ones. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, for the record, I know you guys heard me chirping about this before. The Giants Rush podcast is brought to you by the Chuck app. You guys should check it out. I really do think you're going to like it. If you haven't already, download it for free. The Chuck app is basically an aggregator. It aggregates all the sports content from the daily news all the way to Giants Rush and back, okay, about your teams. And it puts it all in one place so you can just scroll through, your content that you want. And if you do download the Chuck app, which I recommend you do, it's great for before work, lunch hour, whatever. You're commuting, you're on a bus, you're on a train, all that great stuff. Sunday afternoon, right before the game. But it also has a daily trivia question, which I absolutely love because it spans all the different sports. And guys like Shawnee B and Joe, and sometimes Mason will go head to head and see who can win this week. So if you get a chance to check out the Chuck app, you'll like it. Alex, I will say, as Chris was saying, it was a little bit of hangover, but players have hangovers, right? Players have hangovers. Mm-hmm. Alex, do coaches have hangovers? Because, it felt like we literally took the Dallas playbook, the play card, and we just went, try that side. Because it was the same thing. Nothing was working. There was nothing downhill. It just looked bad.
And it was just like we couldn't get out of our own way again, where it would be a penalty that happens that completely derails a drive, whether it be a 5-yard holding penalty that pulls us back, and then that turns the play action is completely gone in that situation, or whatever it was, whether it be something defensively that extends a drive and lets them continue going on. I really feel like the best thing to come out of that first half, looking back at it, was that missed field goal on that first drive, because looking back, we go to overtime. We're playing for overtime at the end, if that's not the case. But yeah, nothing went right. But going on to the interception again, where it's just another one that hits the hands of a receiver. I know I saw Danny getting just roasted online during that whole first half again. I think he made some questionable plays, but he can't catch the ball too. And when you put the ball in the receiver's hands, that's the second time, 2 times out of the 3 interceptions have come off of hands or just been knocked out of a receiver's hands.
And again, looked like they were unprepared. It looked like Jones looked scared to look downfield. He was just waiting to get sacked. No one had any confidence at all. And it was shocking. I just was I just don't know. I had such bad thoughts, by the way. I want to admit it. I had all these thoughts is Daboll the guy we think he is? Is Jones the guy? Is the right guy? I'm like Kafka definitely is crapping the bed here. I was just off the rails, over the waterfall. I thought they were going to come out just bawling. I thought there would be a fight at the coin toss. I just thought these guys were going to come out biting nails and fighting in the tunnel like Michigan and Michigan State. I thought it was going to be like game on. They were like rabid wolves. No one fed them all week. Their wives made them sleep outside. And they came out and they're like, meow. I was like, what's happening? So I'm with you. It was rough. But, gentlemen, something, and I think Mark Schlereth was doing the game. I'm pretty sure you guys might have been listening to that broadcast. I don't know, depending on where you were in the country. Mark Schlereth was doing the game, and he said, man, I'd like to be a fly on the wall to hear what Daboll's going to say to them. And whatever he said must have been, honestly, Chris, it must have been either extremely motivating or, hey, I'm cutting every one of you SOBs. Because, it must have been Parcells-esque, Coughlin-esque, because he literally got this team to walk out on the field with no hangover. They were like this. All right, we've got a whole another half to play.
Yeah. What's interesting about Daboll is you see him hold it together. He protects his players in the press conferences. He doesn't rip on guys in front of the camera. But behind you've seen glimpses of him have that side of him where he doesn't put up with the BS. And you could just imagine and going into halftime being embarrassed and him letting loose. There was talk, and obviously about maybe the play calling, right? You saw a lot more aggressiveness in that second half. And maybe the problem is in the first half that Kafka lets the game dictate what he wants to do rather than being aggressive and just going after it. So I don't know. I think on offense, they need to be a little more aggressive. But once again, the defense, it took the steam right out of that game when they let him come down the field. So that kind of put him in a tailspin, right? That first drive.
Yeah, and like I said, like, you know, they come out very first play, first and 10, and Jones just uncorks this 58-yard rifle down the field, and, you know, the speedster rookie Jalen Hyatt makes his first catch, and like literally the weight just like lifted off your shoulders and was like, oh my God, there's life. There it was, it lives. You know what I mean? Like they're flipping the switch on Frankenstein. I mean, it was crazy. And it was awesome to see a rookie be the one to give him the jolt. You know, it was awesome to see Jones be like, I got this, and just rip it down the field. And Alex, what I was really shocked about, and in the first half, I didn't quite, it didn't register with me, but, you know, big improvement out of the right guard without Glowinski. I thought there was a big improvement, and you're playing with a guy that hadn't gotten any snaps there prior. Any thought on the O-line and you know, at all? Like when the game started, like, and Glowinski got benched, like, what was your thought? Like, hooray? Or
good?
Oh, yeah, okay.
The less that Glowinski is on the field, the better. I don't really care who else it is. It's having to fill in for him if he's not out there. But yeah, I mean, I wrote it down. Danny had about 2.87 seconds on average to throw the ball this week, which is about double what he had last week. Yeah. So like, not great, but it is better. I thought Josh Ezeudu did have his mistakes, but like, he gave him time, and like that's really like we got to see in that second half. If Daniel Jones has a couple of seconds to throw the ball to make a decision, like we got the deep ball going. We had that was kind of what we were trying to take the next step and do this offseason, where we were trying to work on throwing the deep ball and just giving him a couple seconds to get these guys that have the speed to get open. Just let him throw it up and let his guys go get it. Like it was huge. And then you saw Waller. I think he leads the NFL in tight end reception or tight end yards right now. Like that connection was kind of going right there. We were getting those slots going. And then when, like, now the beauty of that is we're having to just rely on the insides, the slants and just the screen passes. And now we can hit him over the top because we can lure him in like that. We lured him in with Waller. There was a big pass to Slayton in the fourth quarter that helped us along the way in the comeback. It's just like, we kind of got in the rhythm that we were never able to really establish anything. I think we didn't have like, 2 consecutive first downs the entire first half almost. I think maybe one time we did that, and then we'd stalled and the drives just didn't go anywhere, and we finally found a rhythm, and I don't know what it was. It kind of felt like just letting Daniel Jones run around in the backfield. I know that there were plays called, but just like let him run the ball, let him do some RPO, just kind of screw around with it, and let's just let him like see what happens with it. And then Saquon picked it up when he needed to pick it up.
Chris, they come out, they whipped this ball 58 yards down the field. Did you watch the play by any chance? Did you actually like watch the replay over it?
Yeah.
I mean, Hyatt runs right by the corner. Like, I mean, blazed his ass like bastard. And the safety took a terrible angle to the ball.
Yeah.
And you know, Jones probably could have let him just a little bit more.
A little more, yeah.
Yeah, if he had let him a little bit more, that's a touchdown. But still, what a great, you know, throw by Jones to recognize it, because he didn't look anywhere else. He came right out of the chute going. And great route by Hyatt. Love to see the rookie actually, you know, contribute his first catch. It's 58 yards. And all of a sudden you're feeling, okay, there's a little bit of life. And then 2 plays later, Vanilla Vic rolls into the end zone with 5 Cardinals chasing him down the field. It felt like, okay, this is what we've been waiting for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they had to score. They had to score fast, right? Because they were down by so much. So to get those that touchdown with only 2 minutes into the third quarter gave you a little hope. But you can't underestimate, Azudu's job at left tackle, McKeithen at guard. Even when Brederson went out, Glowinski, maybe left guard. He's better suited at left guard than he is at right guard. But 42 dropbacks for Daniel Jones and only 7 pressures. So not a bad job at all for an offensive line that was kind of patchwork. And you know what? Maybe Azudu turns out to be that swing tackle that we hope Pert would be when Thomas comes back. So we might have a nice find there for that other tackle spot, and maybe McKeithen gets some more play at guard. But, at least some positive came out of the juggling.
The line looked good, like I said, on that touchdown run. I mean, Jones just rolls that corner, and everyone was going the other way. The play action is very underestimated here. The play action was great in that game between Jones and Barkley. I know that stuff gets a little understated. Nobody cares. Trust me, if that fake wasn't as good to Barkley, everybody thought Barkley was getting the ball on the, 11-yard line, 13-yard line? Mm-hmm. Everybody thought that was Saquon, and the entire Cardinals defense came up to smash him in the box. Jones hits the corner. And then there's a piece on NYGIANTSRUSH.com right now that I wrote this morning, Java with Jones. Check it out. There's an actual snapshot of Jones running around the corner and 5 Cardinals, trying to catch him. He's a big athletic dude who doesn't get a lot of credit. I don't understand Jones haters. Like, he's a big athletic dude, and just he gives you like another running back or another tight end on the field. So it was really good to see them come out of the chute. And Daniel Dimes Jones, really had himself a great day, at least second half anyway.
And Craig, it's reminiscent of, and I mentioned it yesterday, of that Tampa game, his rookie year, when he was down by 18 points, the Giants at halftime. So, he put it on his back. He really did.
I love it. I mean, again, that's what we needed. And I'm bringing this one up here for you, Alex, because you just alluded to something. Wide receiver room. I'm starting to also feel so Waller leads the team also in first downs yesterday with 4. Slayton had 3. I almost feel, and not to be negative, right? Just analyzing what they have. I'm a little bit disappointed in Paris Campbell. Seems like he drops a couple balls. He's a little shaky, right? I'm starting to feel like this is a Waller, Slayton really stepping up, who's great with Yak and Hodgins. Like, I'm starting to feel a little bit like, and of course Hyatt, that Campbell needs a little bit less of a role. I'd like to see Hodgins get a larger role like he had last year. I almost feel like Kafka's trying to force guys on the field or try to get them all playing time. Like, I don't know what's your thought here, because you mentioned earlier about, guys, dropping balls, hitting him in the hands. And that was Campbell. Is that who you were referring to?
Yeah. No, exactly. I really feel like I don't want to just give up on Campbell just yet. I feel like they're trying to figure out like the gadget plays with him. They're trying to figure out the little slot stuff for him. I think Hodgins finally got an opportunity. Like the Dallas game, we were against it that entire time. We didn't really get a chance to like unleash him and let Hodgins kind of run the routes and get the opportunities that he had. And yesterday, how cool was it though? He has the touchdown catch, hands it to his son on his son's birthday, like right in the end zone. That was awesome. It was good to kind of see like a reemergence of him. And I think Slayton and Hodgins, we just got to ride those guys. Those were the guys that we rode when we had nobody last year. And they're still just the guys that we're going to go with. Now we have the luxury of also having a Campbell and a Hyatt. And I think Campbell's going to work out. I just feel like we're going through some bumps in the road very early in the season. And we kind of smooth things out. I feel like Campbell's going to be awesome. Campbell could be like the perfect, like what we wanted Tony to be, even though it was a different regime where it's like, all right, he's going to do the other stuff. We're going to get him under, but he's got that speed where he can beat anybody with that. And I think that he's got a bright future with us. Just he's had a pretty tough start to his Giants career.
Yeah.
I don't want to rule him out just yet though.
No, and I'm not ruling him out. I was wondering, so like the Giants didn't look like themselves last week. They didn't look like themselves the first 2 weeks. Chris, wondering though, like, is Kafka like maybe he's a young offensive coordinator. any chance he's trying to dial up plays, like for all the guys on the team, like, hey, I got to get this guy a touch or this guy a touch. Like, maybe he's just not used to having 7 wide receivers on the team because there is a lot of talent in the room and there's only one ball, right? Yeah. So, because I start thinking like right now, Waller's your target. Jones and him have a great inside relationship, right? He had 4 first downs yesterday. Slayton has gotten better every year. His route running has gotten so good. Where to sit down and then yards after the catch. I think, again, we always love Shep, but he's a little bit of a role player at this point. Not as Alex said, not trying to push Campbell out the door, but I think I'd like to see Hodgins get more snaps. You know what I mean? And get that. Okay, we're going Waller, we're going Slayton, we're going Hodgins as the rotation. Any thought to that wide receiver room?
Yeah, I think Paris Campbell, there's going to be mismatches. I mean, they want to put him in the backfield. They want to do sweeps with him and put him in motion and do things even from the running back position with him because he's fast. But, it's 2 games, right? The unfortunate part of both these games is that we've gotten behind early. And maybe some, God bless you. Some of these guys get lost, in the craziness of trying to make this comeback, and Jones has his favorites. I mean, that relationship is kind of just started over, OTAs, and we know he likes Hodgins and he's connected with Waller, but, just give it time. I think there'll be a place for Campbell, and he did make a nice catch there to be short of the first down, big play there, and then they did the sneak, to get the first down. So, I think with Dable's offense, it's all about mismatches, and his game could be coming up in the next few games where he's highlighted, in the game plan.
And we got tons of comments in here, and I'll just rip through a couple of them. Darius says Banks is the truth. I do think Banks is a legit corner. He's going to have a really nice rookie year. Chris D says Banks and Hawkins. And you can already see that Banks is scrappy, right? Getting John up with a couple guys. And Cold hasn't, rookies are both balling. Yeah. So those guys, are going to be up and coming players, without a doubt. I'm just looking here to see if there's any offensive. We still can't cover the tight end. I'm just trying to see. Oh yeah, McKeithen, he did do well. Cold. I mean, I'm gonna pop this up on a screen. He did do well. Cold. It's a really cool thing to see. Maybe we underestimated him. I know he got hurt last year, but give him the start. Let him go, right? Because the offensive line played rather well, down the stretch last night.
I also think that we're not talking enough about the offensive line, especially that right side, that entire second half. Daniel Bellinger was in that. I don't know how many routes Daniel Bellinger ran the entire time because I don't really remember him going out for a pass at all. He was inside there blocking, and Evan Neal was not having a great day. And I think Daniel Bellinger kind of being there to help out over on that right side so many times, I would see him kind of just chip a guy or catch a block and just kind of. Daniel Bellinger was a reason that we were able to have that 2.87 seconds that we did not have that first week. I thought that whole second half.
Yeah, there's a clip out there. It's sad, man, because Evan Neal he's not blocking anyone. No one is coming at him, and he's looking over in space. And the guy, did you see it? And the guy right. Oh my goodness. I use the word twitchy. I know that's not a word you use when it comes to offensive linemen, but he's not twitchy. And I mean by twitchy is he doesn't recover very well when he whether he extends too far or he bends at the waist or he's out of position. I've seen Thomas recover and still pancake Parsons, which is a feat in itself, right? I've seen him recover. Neal is not twitchy, whether it's his hips, his legs, his footwork. He's just not able to recover, and he doesn't have an awareness. Will Hernandez had the same problem. Will Hernandez would be at the second level hitting the linebacker when his guy would be running right by him, crushing Jones. Neal just doesn't have that awareness around him. Stabbing here, sliding here, sticking here, ripping here. He just doesn't have it. Even when you see him, he get good hand play. And then the next thing you know, the guy from the inside runs right by him. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some fundamental issues there.
And Craig, big thank you to Will Hernandez for that false start yesterday. That helped back him up and get to extend that third down further.
Damn right, Bill. You are
that Giants crowd was causing false starts.
still consistent to this day, Mr. Hernandez. Love it. But okay, so guys, let me put this back here. So wide receiver room, a lot of good things out of it, right? Waller had a good day. I mean, two catches, right? 2 catches for Hyatt for 80 plus yards. I think 58 and 31. And by the way, the second catch was fantastic. Okay. Jones just lets that thing go on a roll. Boom. Hits him, right? Hyatt jumps out of the building like he was trying to dunk. And, he's up, boom, over the top of him. The kid's electric and he's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Like,
just do that play more. We just run that play like every couple of plays.
And the DB Clark was shocked. Like he was just like, "Oh, the ball's coming here," and he did one of these things because Hyatt jumped so far, above him. Kid's gonna be good, and I love the fact that him and Jones have the rapport. And Jones just became dimes in that second half. Like he just was making it happen, And I know for all those. The people who don't like Jones, like, I don't know, man. The guy looked like the real deal, literally a different quarterback than he was in the first half.
Yeah. And Craig, Alex, whether you like him or not, give him credit. He had played a hell of a game yesterday. You don't have to like him, but just tip your cap. He did a hell of a job. He carried.
He's the perfect. He's like the full package though with his legs and everything. 5 first downs on the ground. When a play's dead, he's able to extend it and just like it's the first time we've really ever had that I can remember. And just like they were, and he's not just like a straightforward runner where he's going to try and beat you with his feet. He's not going to try and run over you necessarily, but he's got like jukes, and that's the coolest part about Daniel Jones. He looks like a baseball player. I think that's why people don't think he's like as like tough as he is. He's like tall, lanky, but like doesn't look jacked.
Big strides.
Maybe that's why. Yeah. And then he just beats you off the edge.
He runs very smooth with those long strides.
Right.
Like he doesn't look like he's working very hard.
Well, he passes somebody.
He turned a 4-yard gain yesterday into a 20-yard gain because everyone thought he was going out of bounds. And Jones is like, nope, turning this puppy up. And he goes down the sidelines for 19, 20 yards. And you're like, not many guys can do that.
He adds 9-10 yards to plays like that just you don't like most quarterbacks would not be able to do.
Yeah, like that's a I'm not calling him Josh Allen. I'm saying that's a Josh Allen type of play. You know what I mean?
He's better than Josh Allen. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's better than Josh Allen.
He might be.
Right. All right. Hey, I like it. You heard it here, folks. Daniel Jones is better than Josh Allen, according to Alex J.
Somebody's got to say it.
Listen, yesterday he made all the throws, the runs, the tough ones. He took a bunch of hits. I mean, again, and it just was the tempo. The tempo was fast. For 6 quarters, we were in quicksand. Yes, after halftime, it was like, go, downfield, go. Like everything was just clicking because all of a sudden the Cardinals had no idea what was going on. Like they literally went from in control of the game, running the clock out with their back, who was just abusing the snot out of the Giants. We'll get to the defense in a minute. But damn, their defense looked all out of sync. Like in that second half, they were just throwing the ball all around the lot. And I was like, especially like I was really impressed with Slayton yesterday. Really impressed with like where he sits down, readjusting back to the ball. And I love Slayton yards after the catch. I mean, he's a 5th-round draft pick, and this kid punches above his weight, so it's cool. All right. Let's talk about the ouch from yesterday. Barkley, I think, had a really good game because it wasn't about Barkley, right? Like, he made a couple good chip blocks, great play action. That little screen pass he took for a touchdown.
Catch, yeah.
I mean, don't tell anybody, but his hand might have been out of bounds might have been down. I don't know. If you look at that,
No, pylons in.
I know. If you look back at some of those angles, it looks like his hand is down out of bounds, and then he hits the pylon just from one angle. Either way, great
All
effort.
scores reviewable. They
All
gave
scoring plays are reviewed. That's a great point.
Yeah. Chris, to start with you. So it looks like he's out 3 weeks. No broken bones.
Yep.
Looks like an ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain, because high ankle sprains can be anywhere from 5 to 7. What you thought about what Barkley did yesterday and him being out 3 weeks?
We were all frustrated when the second time, week in a row where the ball bounces away from it and it causes an interception. But other than that, I mean, you saw on that big run to get into field goal range before he got injured, he willed himself breaking tackles and getting those extra yards to get in field goal range.
Dude, I haven't seen him run like that.
No.
I honestly could say in his 4 years on the team, or is it his 5th year, 4 or 5?
5th.
I don't think I've seen him run like that.
We see that at times, but it's not something that happens every week. It's like he willed it. He wanted it so bad. He was risking everything to break these tackles.
Yeah, he
plays
comes
hard,
out with that spin move to start off, right? The hole is closed. He spins out. He steps outside another tackle, beats a guy around the corner, drops his shoulder. And even when you think the play's over, he's not down yet. He's still like rolling on the guy's body for future yards. I mean,
that was rookie Barkley. That was what we saw rookie.
That was so sick when he was just rolling off the dude. And just pushed himself to try and get some more.
Yep. Yeah, because the guy was underneath him, right, Alex? The guy was underneath him. He's like, I'm not down. No. And that was some vintage, rookie Barkley. I am bummed for him, but again, I'm not going to nitpick on technique, but like it is a thing in football that it's probably a lot more predominant in the last, I want to say 5 to 7 years than I've ever seen it, is instead of making tackles low, right? When you tackle a guy low, you wrap them up, you take them down, right? Now what they do is they jump around your shoulder pads and they give you that like WWE move where they come down and they crush out your legs from underneath you, right? Because they pull all your weight back.
Yeah.
And 7 out of 10 times, your legs are planted.
And getting caught under.
You're planted, and that leg is getting bent back because it's almost like a horse collar without it being a horse collar, because they're coming on and then they're literally bending you backwards and using your own weight while your legs are planted. I'm trying to think who got really hurt that way a couple, like 2-3 years ago. It'll come to me, but let me pop in the comments, because I know these guys are, they'll probably remember what I'm talking about. A lot of guys are getting hurt, by that kind of tackle, right? That kind of tackle. It's not a low tackle. It's not a high tackle. It's up top, and then it's literally pulling you backwards against your weight, but you're kicking out the leg underneath it, and the leg is still planted, so you're bending it back. The leg's got nowhere to go but turn. And, Chris says this is a regular sprain, not a high sprain. Yeah, correct, Chris. It's not a high ankle sprain because, it's 3 weeks. So I feel bad for him. But, Alex, San Francisco's a big, tall order, but Seattle's in there. And, Breed has had his moments. And maybe Gray, and I would have to think Gray is going to get some touches too, right?
Yep.
And Brightwell, don't forget about him.
Hey, special team tackle by Brightwell yesterday, though. I like Brightwell. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I do think it's gonna be Burrito's show. I'm very interested to see how much you're gonna be able to run a similar offense with that, because you're not gonna be able to sell the play action as well, obviously, without Saquon back there. They just gotta. I feel like it's gonna be really important to just try to establish the run, which is a lot easier said than done, especially against the 49ers coming up on Thursday. But I don't know. Burrito's always been good out of the backfield, like catching and everything too. So I feel like he's been decent, kind of subbing in for Barkley in the past when he had to. But this is just a lot longer than we've ever wanted him to. I really kind of want to see Gray, though, get an opportunity. Like, not as the starter necessarily, but just kind of pepper him in there. Let's see what he can do. We haven't really got an opportunity with him yet.
like Hyatt, Chris, I think, we're going to see a little bit of Gray, and I think we're all going to smile because I think this kid's got some big, thick legs, and that's why they're trusting him back there with punts and kicks, right? I think they trust him with the ball. I think he's got a real good burst of speed that we quite haven't seen yet. So I think, and don't get me wrong, Breida's a good dude, and he's very, all around. Remember, they bring Breida in the block a lot because Saquon's not the greatest blocker, but so you do know, Alex and Chris, we do know that Jones won't be what's the word I'm looking for? Like the offense won't suffer from blocking from Jones because Breida's the better blocker out of the backfield. So we know if Jones is throwing the ball and Breida's in there, we're okay. We still have a good, more than capable blocking back. It's, Chris, you tell me, how much do you think, if we run the ball 25 times a game, is that 20 Breida? Are they going to split? How many carries do you see Gray getting?
I think the game's going to dictate, how many rushing attempts, but I think it's going to be pretty distributed between Breida, Gray, and sprinkle a little Brightwell. So if I had to take a guess, maybe 10 or 12 carries for Breida, and then maybe 8 to 10 for Gray. But I think there'll be a little match, and I wouldn't be surprised they play the hot hand. If one guy's looking better than another, you're going to get more carries out of either Gray or Breida. But, Breida out of the backfield, although Gray can catch out of the backfield, Breida has that extra burst, right? Gray doesn't have that extra gear. He's more of a shifty guy, gets that first, gets a good, that first initial gear. But I think Breida could play that Barkley role, like Alex was saying, out of the backfield and maybe break one.
Yeah, I'm propping this up here. Chris just said, you guys just said the same exact thing. Christy says Breida is an out of the backfield guy. Gray is shifty and Brightwell is that north-south thumper. Listen, let's not call Brightwell anything but injured reserve waiting to happen. I want him to do well, but the cat is hurt all the time. Like, I'm just like, wait a minute. How did he get hurt? He wasn't on the field. So, but I have hope that maybe, because I'm rooting for the guy, but every time I see the injury report, I'm like this. How is Brightwell on the injury report?
I'll tell you what, Craig, when Brightwell does get the ball, and Alex, you see he hits that hole fast. He really does. So,
yeah.
I like that about him. He doesn't dance around. He hits that hole. So I don't know. We'll see. We're just going to get some carries. Hopefully he does well. Yeah.
Well, I'm not comparing these two gentlemen, but the style is similar. So nobody go off the rails. Brightwell runs like Marshawn Lynch. All right. He comes in downhill, hot and heavy, and he puts his face mask right on your face mask before you've had a time to think. Right. Because he's coming in hot. And which is cool, right?
Set the tone, right? That's what we need Thursday night. Set the tone.
Without a doubt. It just happens to be like he's a little brittle. So,
right.
He comes down and smashes with you a couple times, and you're like, yeah, I love this dude. And then you see him like, beep, boop, beep, boop, and he's going out.
Going out. I love Breida and Gray. Yep.
So, I know, Cole. He's not Marshawn Lynch. I'm just saying, it's like that kind of style where it's give me the ball. I'm pressing you in a second here with my helmet in your chest.
Is there any benefit to not having, obviously you would rather have Barkley back there, but just in the event, the fact that it is three guys, they're not necessarily straight up just preparing for only Matt Breida, maybe that plays in our favor a little bit where they don't know who to prepare for, so we can kind of throw a couple of different things at them. Again, obviously Barkley would be a better choice, but they're not prepped for it.
Possible. Nobody's got any tape on Gray, right?
Right.
Breida's a guy that's been on a couple teams. He said he's great out of the backfield, so we may pass even more, right? Screenplays and speed outs. So we may.
With the 49ers, I think the run game is huge in this game because you're going to have to, time of possession is going to be a big factor in this one if you want to keep them from scoring and just wearing our defense out.
Down. Yeah.
We're going to have to establish the run and use all three of these guys, I feel like.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room because there is the other side of what's missing on this team. Hate to do it. Gotta be done. The defense sucks right now, right? They've got issues like almost at every position, either underperforming, they're clueless, overmatched, and I don't quite understand it because Wink Martindale is this, he's the Gandalf, he's the wizard, of defense. And I'm like, dude, figure this out. So let's just quick wrap up, this thought that we were going to have a top 10 defense. That is not the case.
Not
okay?
yet. Not
yet.
yet. It's very
It's
early. It's very early, Craig.
It is. I know.
Very
Shame
early.
on
We'll forget that. We'll forget that. Only 2 weeks.
Shame on me, but it doesn't look like there's a whole lot right now going on. Let's start off with this. Like the Giants in the offense, Okereke had tale of two halves. First half, he didn't know where he was going. He didn't know what he was doing. Second half, he wakes up and he's everywhere. Boom, 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 boom. So something is holding these guys back. They're either confused or something. They're not watching enough film. Maybe they don't understand the calls. But like Okereke was completely lost in the first half.
2 penalties that really cost us.
Yeah. Right? And Connor was pounded. And I kept waiting for Okereke to come in and take his head off. He was nowhere to be found. So there is something to say that there could be some confusion or too complex. I don't know what it is. Now, Dex is Dex. He's getting less snaps because of Robinson and Nacho. So they're scaling back. But Dex had a fine day, right?
Why weren't they in on? There were 3 or 4 third downs that they were not in on that led to first downs that I just felt like that was a huge question mark. If you got your big money guy right there, he should be in there on third down.
You talking first half or second half?
Second half too. But I mean, like there were a couple of times both halves where you're just like, why is he not on the field right now?
Because like first half, like I just kept thinking, like, I don't know, maybe they're trying to save him for something. I was like,
yeah, we weren't really
I kept thinking,
anything.
I was like, why the heck is Nacho in there right now? You know what I mean? Like, so yes, I agree with that. Something was going on there with like, hey, let's save him. Let's not give him 80 snaps. Let's give him 40. Or I don't know I didn't look defensive snap count this week, but yes, so that's something. Leonard Williams was a disappointment yesterday. But still, there's a bigger disappointment here. 2 guys are just under my skin. There are just 2 guys that I cannot figure out what's happening. So I'm going to give one to you, Chris. And I'm going to give one to you, Alex. All right, I'm going to start with you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
This team has 0 with a capital Z pass rush. It is pathetic. It is sad and sorry that we had no pass rush. Last year, we got no pass rush. This year, and I've got to tell you, there's a video going around. The entire team is on the sideline, dapping it up after a big, touchdown by the Giants. One player, Chris, one player is sitting down the bench 50 feet away by himself. Do you know who that player is?
Yeah, it's Thibodeau.
It's Thibodeau. Bad body language on the field. No tackles for loss, no forced fumbles, no sacks. Ready? No tackles.
Yeah, I know. Daniel Jones had a tackle. Big tackle.
He did.
Yep.
He did, yeah.
But
Chris,
yeah.
What is up with Thibodeau? I have heard so many excuses. I've heard nobody gets a lot of sacks in Wink's defense. Wah. Okay, they brought him here as a pass rusher to disrupt and make plays. You know what plays are? Pressures, tackles for loss, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, pass defense, QB hits, sacks. That's his job. Now,
he had 2 pressures.
Yep. I said pressures, right? And then I hear it's only 2 games. He wasn't doing much last year either. Yes, He did great in the the Commodore, whatever they call them, Commanders game. Yes.
Tommies.
Yes. Yes
call.
and yes. Chris.
Yeah.
He was drafted what pick?
Was he fifth overall? Yeah. I know. We see a lot of this happen sometimes. It's not good.
Fifth pick, Chris, doesn't need to be groomed, developed. Like the GM's doing this. Yeah, pick that guy because they don't need. They're gonna go. They're gonna do great.
Yeah. Well, let's rewind. Last year he got injured, right? It took him a little while getting preseason, and then it took him a little while once he got back to get in condition and make an impact. And he did for a few games. But I'm willing to. We have to hold off a little bit. It's a second game. Let's see if the first quarter ends. We got 2 more games, and we're a quarter into the season. But yeah, it's not good when you don't get a tackle and he's sulking on the sideline. Hopefully he comes back, pissed off for Thursday and shows something. But no, it's not good when he's not involved in a tackle. I mean, that's eye opening there. He didn't, wasn't involved in a stop. So I don't know. That not good right now.
Can you read that?
No, what does that say? Excuses?
No motor.
No motor. But he had a motor. Craig, last year he had a motor, and that was one of the positives that everybody said it's not what they envisioned hearing about coming out of Oregon, because that was one of the negatives, and it wasn't the case last year. He did play hard, and I don't know what's going on this game today. Yesterday.
I don't know. Is he play? But he's just like. He's not relentless.
I agree.
Yesterday he showed much. Hutchinson ruined Pat Mahomes' day because this cat was like, he didn't care he got sacks. He was going to run for 90 minutes, whatever, right? 60 minutes. He was going to chase Pat Mahomes down if it was the last thing on earth. This cat is being pushed around by tight ends. There's no extra effort. I told you, it took him 10 weeks last year just to get 1 QB hit. I don't care if he doesn't get another sack, okay? Because people want to compare him to Strahan. You can't do it. Strahan's a defensive end 30 years ago, right? They develop players now. They don't do that now, right? His rookie year, he had Lawrence Taylor still on the team, right? They want to compare him to JPP. JPP was a defensive end, right? Like, then you know what? Just play the run. He is sucked inside every freaking play. I just want to give me 7 sacks. Give me 7 tackles. Mm-hmm. Give me 7, 8 tackles. Be a run stuffing maniac.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally like shows very little motor and very little second effort. And I think he has all the tools, right? He tries to bull rush, Chris. He's not strong enough. His
arsenal of moves. The bull rush. I don't think it's effective. He's not. I don't think he's got that type of strength. I think he's effective, with spins and some other things. But I don't see him bull rushing too many tackles. But you know what? We know it. He knows it. They watch film today, I'm sure. And Wink, he's not a guy that puts up with shit. So I would think in front of everybody, I'm not saying he's getting showed up in front of his teammates, but I'm sure he's not sitting comfortable watching film today. And I hope Thursday night, another national game, he comes out and we see things different Thursday night. That's what I'm hoping.
We're killing Evan Neal about his lack of play. There's no reason why we can't kill Thibodeau too then. There's no reason.
Yeah. Well, Evan Neal, I don't know if it's about effort. We're seeing a problem with effort, like you're saying with Thibodeau. When things aren't going his way, he seems to shut it down. Maybe yesterday it looked that way. Where Evan Neal, he tries. He's actually putting the effort in. He just gets out of his stance slow, balance. There's all other issues. So, I think it's a little bit different with both those guys. But I'm hoping Thursday night national game. He rebounds. He has to. If no sacks, like you said, just get 8 to 10 tackles.
That's what I said. Don't you know what? For all the people out there in Twitter land and Instagram land, you know what? I don't give a shit if he gets one more sack the rest of his career. But
what will help him if he plays Thursday night? If Aziz gets on the field Thursday night, that'll help him out.
Look, I love Ojulari. The guy has been hurt his entire career here.
Yep. Frustrating. Yeah.
Him and Gary Brightwell.
Gary Bright.
I mean, I am a huge. I've never seen anybody bend like like Aziz can. It's amazing how he can bend coming around the corner.
He can't get on the field. We need him.
But guys like Hutchinson, guys like Trayvon Walker, guys like Parsons, guys like TJ Watt, they just get it done.
Joey Bosa, we're going to see him.
Well, Bosa's completely a freak.
I know.
But
he is. I know he is.
Just get it done. Just get it done. Give me 10.
You just named like the best players at those positions in the league. Like, he might not be the best player at his position in the league. I get that he was drafted 5th overall, but all he has to do is be productive. And there were times yesterday, I think there were 3 times where he didn't necessarily make the play, but his hands were up in the air and he forced a bad throw. And I want to say it was on the 3rd down that forced that punt that we came back and we had the field goal.
I think you're right, Alex. Good point.
Game. Like, he may not have had, like, he had 1 pressure, he had one hurry, or 2 pressures, 1 hurry, and a 1 quarterback hit. Like, I get it, no tackles, but like, I don't think he was not there at all, because there were several times where his arms were up there and Dobbs was having to make different plays. He was having to check down because of Thibodeau being there. So it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, and I get it. We want more after him being the 5th overall pick, but I think that he's not existed there. And I think Jay was saying he was getting doubled a couple of times. And there are times, like, when you're getting doubled, he's still young. He's trying to figure out how to come off of a double team.
Yeah. And the thing about it, we know he's freaky athletic, right? We know he's got like all the tools. But like, when I see videos of him sitting on the sideline by himself with a complete empty bench and everybody dabbing it up down the other side, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's looking at his phone. I don't really know.
Craig, I don't want to make excuses for him, but considering we know how he played and he didn't do much, he probably felt like crap. I don't make excuses. He should be there with his teammates, but he's probably embarrassed, disappointed, and hopefully that's why Thursday night, I hope he comes back and really makes an impact.
I also would like to see, when we had Dallas was just throwing twists and stunts and everything possible at the Giants, right? And we already know that, like, hey, that tape is out there for defenses across the league, what the Giants struggle with, right? And I know we love Wink, and like I said, he's Gandalf and he is, the wizard, right? I think, maybe we need to try something different with him. He is literally rushing off the edge, taking on the tackle or the tight end, and he's not a bull rusher. He tries.
No, yeah.
He's not a bull rusher.
I think he has his strength, yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe his strength is somewhere else. Maybe they need to stunt him off into the C gap. Maybe they need to, bring him through the center into the B gap. Maybe they need to do something different with him. Maybe a delay. Maybe they just not using him correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's got all the measurables. He's got all the
Craig, what could help him is more time with Isaiah Simmons on the field, because they're going to want to move him around, and I think he's going to see more time at that linebacker spot, and they're going to be moving him. So, him and Aziz get on the field, Isaiah and Aziz. I think that'll only help Thibodeau. So we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, he's got to improve.
Wink does preach the positionless defense thing, and maybe sometimes most defenses have positions for a reason. Just something to think about. That's what I was saying a minute ago, right? He's got all the measurables, but maybe this system doesn't suit him, right? And Cold is on the same page with me. Like, maybe it's not the right system. I mean, it happens, right? Where guys the system don't work for whatever reason, whether it's the language, whether it's the expectations, whether it's the assignment, whatever it is. Maybe it's not. Wink
wanted him. Wink wanted him. He was high-fiving when they got him. He was part of it with Shane. So, I mean, they shouldn't have drafted him if that was the case.
Cold is on fire. Cole says his strength is in his neck from wearing them heavy-ass chains. Cold is on fire.
Big trap.
Like I said, look, at the end of the day, we need him. Right? Yeah. He's a 5th round pick. We need him. We do need him to contribute.
He's playing like a 5th round pick, you mean?
I mean, sorry, in the draft.
That's what you wanted to say.
We need him to make plays. He can't just be an average player. I don't know. Authentic, do you really want to have this conversation? I know, hey, look, it's the body of work that we're talking about. Right, Cold is always on fire, Jay. It's the body of work. Yes, he had a great game against the Commanders last year, right? But again, we're looking at body of work for a guy that should step in and be a dynamic player. He's got all the measurables, got all the tools. Part of me feels, like I said, like maybe, yeah, you're right, Chris. Maybe Wink loved him and wanted him, but doesn't mean that he adapts to the system, right? Because he's got all these really great attributes that don't seem to be helping him, right?
He hasn't progressed or developed as far along as they want. I mean, that's what it's coming down to, I think. I mean, it's just they thought he'd be further along at this point. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm not comparing the body of work to Neal and the Tibbs. I'm saying we're being hard on Neal. We can be hard on Tibbs. That's all. Let's be hard on all the guys that were high draft picks to come in and play.
You know what, Craig? Alex, when you look back to that Washington game, I mean, he was he was a playmaker that game. Like, where is that guy, right? I mean, he was all over. That's why I like the motor. Like, I like the motor. Right. It's so inconsistent. It's so inconsistent, right? Like, how do you, like, oh, I'm just going to show up for this game, or I'm going to let this guy push me around? Like, he should be able to get off these blocks. He should be able to have himself set a 7-tackle, 8-tackle game. And the body of work says, no, it's not there, right? You can look up these guys in their rookie years, like Hutchinson or Walker or Parsons or these guys. And yes, Alex, they're the best in the game, right? But like, we all thought that the number 5 pick in the draft would be in that conversation, right? So we're looking for plays, dynamic plays out of this cat, right? And again, could be the system, right? Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's in his head. I think you said last week, oh no, Spartan was saying sports psychologist for Neal, right? Maybe he needs to talk it out. Maybe Tibbs needs someone to talk to. Alex, I've got one for you, which is about Xavier McKinney. I was surprised to see Dobbs run him over and go into the end zone. And like, McKinney's another guy, like, he's going to want to get paid this year, right? He's going to want to get paid this year. And man, like, when he's on too, right? Like, he's another guy when he's on. Where are we with McKinney? I know some people I saw on Twitter just, killing him, the last 2 weeks. I was a little shocked to see him basically get run over by a backup QB and force his way into the end zone. Like, I always thought McKinney was like, yeah, he's a killer, right? He's picking that ball off ball hawk. He's going to come down and lay a thump on you. You tell me, where are we with McKinney?
I mean, he, especially in that first half with the entire team, he really did struggle. I don't know exactly if he was just missing assignments or what he was doing there, but he's always been a guy that kind of just missed sometimes. Like, he's going to make those mistakes, and it's just been very apparent in the first couple of weeks that we're seeing him struggle right now. And I don't know, it's crazy that the rookies on our defense are like the brightest part of that entire secondary, because I think Adorie's kind of struggling too. Adoree is kind of having the same kind of problems that McKinney's having right there, adjusting to the slot. But McKinney he looked lost that entire first half. And even some of the third quarter, like, we couldn't really get stops on third down until those last 2 3 and outs that we kind of forced him into. I don't know if he's just trying to figure it out. I don't know if it's the system that Wink's trying to install. Like, it feels like it can't be that much different than it was last year. But yeah, I have no idea what's going on with McKinney, but he's not seeming like a guy that's going to be back with this team next year.
Yeah, I mean,
at least not at the pay that he wants.
Well, and I think it's like, so he switched agents the end of last year, got himself an agent more familiar with defensive backs and safeties. Top safeties making 16 to 18 at the top of the scale, right? I think the last I looked, the tag was somewhere in like the 12 range. I could be wrong. I haven't looked since like early camp. But yeah, and McKinney's, like I said, he's another guy that had a great year, then got hurt, right? Great year, got hurt. So, and again, and Alex, it's a gret point, right? McKinney was calling the defense. They took the dot away from him. I don't know if that has any influence over it or not. But like Okereke, same way. Okereke looked off the first half, right? Like, I just didn't see that guy that we brought in from the Colts who was all over the place. And then second half, like, all of a sudden, like, something switched, So like we said, Chris, a couple guys said that Dable took over the play calling.
Yeah.
And he came right out in the media and said no.
Well,
so, I'm wondering, like I said, it almost seems like an identical situation. A lot of guys were lost in the beginning of the game, offense and defense wise. Connor's pounding the ball. Nobody can tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And then second half, shutting down the run. All of a sudden, the offense is clicking. So
mm-hmm.
Any thought to what's missing on the defense, why we're having so much trouble stopping the run? We've got some major run stoppers. I mean, McFadden and Pinnock are basically holding it together.
Well, McFadden missed a few tackles yesterday, too. He didn't have a great game. He played good in the second half, a little bit better, but he missed some. He was getting caught up in the wash, too. So I think that's an issue, too. I mean, I like McFadden. He plays hard. But once again, I don't think he's that big run stopper in the middle that could play, 3 downs. I mean, he plays 3 downs, but he's not that guy that's going to be stuffing the run. But I think on defense, maybe we'll see something different on Thursday. A little bit less, a little bit more emphasis on stopping McCaffrey in the running game. But yeah, I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned with the defense. I feel like they're letting the first 2 drives of each game come right down the field. I mean, we got to make a stop on that first drive and keep the momentum. I feel like our first lead was the field goal, right? I mean, that was to win the game. So, let's get 3 and out like on the first drive and at least set a little bit of a tone.
It's an art form has been lost of actually tackling low and, and actually taking it out of the ground. Like everyone wants to hang on shoulders and on their backs and around their hips. It's just bush league football. I don't know what everyone thinks is the allure with tackling guys up high and slamming them to the ground, or it just gives more yardage to the back.
Right. And guys don't wrap up as much anymore. They're throwing shoulders in, and it's just different. It's a different game. Yeah. When you see a guy wrap up, you're like, wow, nice tackle. He wrapped up. Like that's the first thing you think of because you don't see that much on an open field tackle. They just throw their body in there. Like
Julian Love went to Seattle.
Very good.
Yeah. He was a great tackler, good tackle, always tackle down low. He had 13 or 14 tackles yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think, a defense needs a guy like that, Alex. Right now, they got shredded by Connor in the first. Again, definitely tale of 2 halves, right? Definitely a tale of 2 halves because the Giants basically. So in the game, the time of possession was almost even at 30, right? It was like 29 to 31. So time of possession was almost equal. But that's 30 minutes for a full game for Arizona. The Giants barely had the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the first half. So majority of that time was in the second half. So Arizona didn't have the ball a whole lot in the second half, and all of a sudden Dobbs couldn't do anything. Like something, and I'm gonna Alex, you tell me, is it the corner play? Is Hawkins and Banks? Is it Dex getting more snaps in the second half because the defense was completely different half to half?
Is it also not being on the field the whole time? Because I feel like that's never a good scenario where your defense is just constantly on the field. Whether it be if the offense is turning it over all the time, if they couldn't get off. I felt like the first week, and then really the first 6 quarters, it just felt like the offense couldn't do anything. We kept stalling out every time we needed to do anything, and then that puts your defense up against it. And it's easy to just not be you can't really do a lot of stuff once you're playing from behind like that. I don't really know what they do, man. Honestly, I'm really, really, really worried about Thursday. I am not looking forward to Thursday. The only good thing about it is Sunday we don't have to stress, I guess, but Thursday's gonna suck. I feel like. I don't think we're ready for the 49ers right now. This is the worst opponent we could be going up against.
on a short week.
Yeah, on a short week with maybe 3 offensive linemen out. I don't know what we're doing here.
I'm gonna rip through these.
We're gonna be against it.
I'm gonna rip through these really quick. See if there's a whole bunch of guys talking about different stuff. Neil's taking some heat in here. Let me see. Thompson says, I'm prepared to give Kayvon 2 more games. Put that up there. Says, I'm prepared to give Kayvon 2 more games. Is he being double teamed more than this year? I'd have to go to snap count. I wouldn't say he's being double teamed more than he was last year. Last year, he got tossed around by a lot of double teams. Who cares what he did last year? That was last year. No showing at pick 5 at year 2 is BS. All right, that's Chris. Cold. Let's see. Pinnock balled out. He did. He looked great. I'm sure the Jets are kicking themselves in the ass for that one. McKinney got trucked. He did get trucked, which was shocking to me. That was like, whoa, that just happened. I'm surprised no one said anything about Zimenez getting playing time because I see him running around. I'm like, why did we break
Jason? Yeah. And not one turnover, right? We didn't have any turnovers both games, so that's not good. We need some turnovers.
Well, we did have the interception.
Pinnock. Yeah, go call back, right? Well, yeah. We need the real one.
Jay says, when a guy's in his second year already talking about being the highest paid safety, F that. So he's all over XMC. McKinney's good, but he believes is great. That's Mark Thompson. So they're ripping into McKinney right now. Defense is weird. The talent is there. Yes, it is, Jay. There is tons of talent. I was really shocked that Leonard Williams was MIA yesterday. You know, like I usually see, you know, again, like you know, he's a big body, gets doubled down too sometimes, you know, but he wasn't anywhere to be found yesterday either. I don't know. I'm looking through here. I want Simmons to get more time. I'd love to see Simmons get more time because I'd really like to know, guys, you tell me, was Simmons a bad fit for Arizona? Maybe from a standpoint of scheme, right? Because, like, you know, they did draft him high and they did just get rid of him for next to nothing. So, Chris, jump in.
Yeah, the old regime, they didn't know how to use him. They put him everywhere. They called him a safety, linebacker. They put him at corner or in the slot. So I don't think they really tried to get him in the one spot where he could really, you know, learn his craft and be good at one position. And the new regime comes in, and there was some talk in training camp that he wasn't, I would say effort, but he just wasn't. He was behind rookies in terms of learning the system. And I think he was going to probably be cut anyway. So they parted their losses and gave him away for nothing. But I think a fresh start, and he seems to be adjusting well, according to Wink, and how he's getting more time. But he's only been here a couple of weeks, right? So give it a few more games. I think we're going to see more and more of him, which is only going to help the rest of the guys.
Yeah, authentic.
More at linebacker, too. I think more at linebacker.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, like, especially have him in space. I mean, I'm just excited to see him play because I'm like, maybe they gave this guy away for nothing.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find out what makes him tick.
Yeah.
Right.
Authentic, I'll throw his up here. He says, where'd it go? His versatility was a negative over there. Yeah. And sometimes they try to get guys to do too much, right? I mean, like, what guy wants to play outside linebacker, inside linebacker, DN, safety? Like, they definitely want to hone in on some skills. Alex, what do you think about Simmons? We want to see more of him, and if we see more of him, it's at whose expense?
I don't know. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that just kind of moves all around, like just like what he didn't fit in the Arizona scheme. Like that's what Wink's using him as. So I don't know exactly. I think like, is it going to be McFadden that he's taking some time away from? Like, is he going to, like, I feel like he's all going to be all over the place. I feel like the more that we've had him, like Chris was saying earlier, we've only had him 2 weeks. So like, he's still adjusting to this system. And I feel like each week we're going to be seeing him used more and more and more.
Like, I just feel like, Alex, wind him up and let him go. You know what I mean? Like, he's so freaky talented. I just feel like I don't know. Like, he's out of position. I definitely can't understand him playing safety and that kind of thing. Like, I just feel like he's an outside linebacker, or an off-ball linebacker. Like, I'd like to see if he can rush, stunt him, see what he can do, because his first step's fast. He's definitely a great first step. Like, it's just a shame because again, I don't feel like we're using him. Now McFadden, like you said, McFadden's on the inside. He's more of a 2-down backer. But McFadden's expertise is blitzing through that A gap. Like, that's his expertise. He made a living at it at Indiana, blitzing through the A gap, scraping, making sacks. And last week against Dallas, he had 10 tackles. Yesterday, he overshot some stuff, got caught in the wash a bit.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see. I mean, like, can Simmons rush the passer? Can he cover tight ends? Like, it's got to be a way to get this cat on the field. All right, guys. So let's do this real fast, and then we'll wrap it up. Everybody knows if you can't watch the podcast live, I'd love you guys to check out, of course, Spotify. Check out Amazon Music, Apple Pods, Anchor, Google Play, Stitcher. You can get Giants Rush up there. Make sure if you're walking the dog, you're working out, whatever you're doing, make sure you can listen to the audio or tell your friends that the audio's there. Here's what I want to know, guys. Who is your let's give out game balls, right? Like who Alex, who's your offensive game ball going to go to for yesterday's game?
Daniel Jones.
Reason why? Tell me.
Because he balled out in the second half, and without him, with his legs and his deep throw, and we don't win the game.
Geez, that was simple. That was easy.
Yeah.
Chris, a game ball, offensive game ball.
How can I top it? I mean, I'm with Alex. Daniel Jones. He did everything right in that second half.
You know what I loved about yesterday about Daniel Jones? Passed the deep ball, hitting high, all this great stuff he did. You know what I liked and appreciated more than anything? The emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seeing him down there, dabbing guys up. You know, when Barkley had that big run, did you see him come over to Barkley and was just jamming on him? Like, it's cool to see. I know we're used to Eli and then we get Daniel Jones, Eli light. It's good to see Jones show some emotion. I like it.
Yeah. And you know what, Craig, Alex, maybe that changes the narrative with him because he's always looked upon it as a guy that's just like just there. He's not really showing too much, but maybe that changes the narrative a little bit. He's got the fire. He just doesn't show it often.
Yeah. Eli was that way a lot of times too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like we went 14 years with Eli, never really showing you much, right? Like, I think it's fine for Jones to be fired up and get guys going, right? Like, again, I watched him, that he had some emotion in the end zone when he ran in. He was all over Barkley when he had that big run. Like, he went right over to him on the sideline and got up in his face mask. Jones definitely gets the game ball for the offensive side of the ball, but it was just really cool to see some emotion.
Yeah, again, I mean, right, guys, that's New York and New Jersey. That's our area, the metropolitan area. That's how we are as people that live in this area and root for the Giants. We want to see the emotion.
100%. 100%. And by the way, when we got a ton of you guys in the room, I want to make sure I thank a bunch of guys and some new guys too. Like, we haven't seen, I see Mark B, I see Cole, I see Kevin Mack. We haven't seen him in a long time. I see Jay, I see, of course, the one and the only Mark Thompson. Mark, I am so sorry I missed you last week in the parking lot. The time I got over to Chris's tailgate, you guys already had scooted out for the game. So I was handing out Rush magnets in the parking lot. So I'm sorry I missed you, Mr. Thompson. Authentic, haven't seen him in quite some time. Good to see you. Good to see Sarah. Appreciate you guys all popping in. I see Tuto. I see Joe, of course. Tuto told me he wasn't showing up, and now he's here. So it's good to see him. I see, of course, Darius and Tom. I see a bunch of you guys all in here. So thanks for hanging out. All great questions, great conversation. Guys, defensive game ball, even though might be a little harder to find one. I'll start with you this time, Chris. Defensive game ball, who you giving it to?
Defensive backs played well. When I looked at the stats and he was all over and he had a pick that was brought back, Jason Pinnock, 10 tackles unassisted with 3 assisted. So 13 tackles. Give it to Jason Pinnock. And he didn't let any big plays down the field. So he had good coverage back there.
Yeah, it's tough because Pinnock really did you were only thing I kept thinking the whole game was, are the Jets that stupid? Like, this guy could play.
They tried to sneak him in the practice squad, but we caught it.
Seriously. I saw an interview with him this week, on Giants.com or something. Good cat. Just everything about him, he's just man, he fits here. He's good here, right? So really excited to have Pinnock on this team. How about you, Alex? Can you give a game ball out? I mean, I know it's gonna be tough to find.
Just so we don't have the same, I would have probably gone Pinnock too. Trey Hawkins, no catches allowed. He had a forced incompletion, a pass broken up, and I also thought it was cool that he dropped that interception because it would have just put us further back when he not coming up with the interception, not being a stats guy, being a team guy. I thought that benefited us.
Good point.
Yeah. I kind of want to since they came in the league together, I'm kind of keeping them together. So I'm giving the game ball to Banks and Hawkins, like as a pair, because it just feels right. You know what I mean? Like
No,
these
I agree.
two rookies out there. I love to see I love to see, the swag at a Banks, jaw it up a little bit, get your face a little bit. Wait a minute. What are you saying? What is Nails is solid, unlike Swerve. What I do now? What I do now?
Who gave me props? This is what happened.
He's giving me some crap.
Oh,
yeah, I love to see what Banks and Hawkins together. Like, it just feels like, man, they came in together, right? Especially like a guy like Hawkins from ODU. I mean, like Cole and a couple of guys were killing Zimenez, first player in the NFL ever drafted out of ODU. We don't have he doesn't turn out to be what we thought he is, or I should say what we wanted him to be. So like we're down in ODU and this cat walks right in, starts in the NFL at corner, and he's playing great, Hawkins. And I love Banks and his swag. So my game ball, I guess I would give to the boys there. Okay. Simmons played just 20% of the snaps. Oh, that's authentic. Yeah, no doubt he's got to find a way to get him on the field one way or another. Wednesday, we are going to do the preview show. We're going to preview San Francisco. They got their work cut out for them. They're going to have to come to play to stop Christian McCaffrey and Debo. But so you will see the truth, and you will see Spartan Mike on Wednesday. If you guys want to, tune in, we're going to do Rush Hour is now going to be every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We're going to preview the game that's coming up. And, hey, I love you guys. You guys have been supporting us, for a long time now. Make sure you're following these guys. If you're looking for the Instagram, it's NYGiants_rush. Of course, you guys know there's a brand new Rush store up on NYGiantsRush.com. So it's pretty much got everything under the sun in there that you want to buy. I mean, so we appreciate that. I'm going to wrap it up with saying that you never know who shows up. Anyone could beat anyone on any NFL day, right? You never really know what happens. Who knows, right? Maybe like me venting on Tibbs, he'll come out with 3 sacks and 8 tackles. Who knows? However, San Francisco is definitely going to be an uphill battle. So we're going to need 4 quarters of football out of the Giants, not 2. Hey,
Craig, it's a short week for them too, so you never know.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah, and I meant to pop in there and check out how many injuries, what their injuries look like after the weekend. I didn't get a chance to see what the update is there. Come on, Craig is terrible, Mark. Cole, you're hurting my feelings now. Come on now. Look at his meme
motivating
comment.
you like you are Thibodeau.
Look, Craig is terrible, Mark. See, that's just wrong. It's just wrong. Yeah, any key Niner injuries? I don't know, Christy. I was looking for that too. I know tomorrow they start rolling that out, but appreciate you guys all popping in, hanging out with us. I know we ran a little bit long, but it was the first win of the year, so we wanted to go through a little bit.
Excuse me, Craig. I mean, I have a couple injuries. If you want them for Frisco,
bring it. Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, Ayuk didn't practice today, shoulder. Limited the cornerback Ambry Thomas with the knees, and they just did pretty much a walkthrough today anyway. So,
okay.
That's all we have for today. Tomorrow, obviously, we'll get more, but that's it. Dave Ayuk, that's big. Didn't practice. So.
No doubt. And by the way, Cold, so my tailgate's like about 200 yards from Chris's. I was at my tailgate. If you come to my tailgate, I'll feed you cold, right? So I left my tailgate and then hoofed it over to Chris's tailgate, and they were gone already. I would never miss my boy Mark Thompson. You kidding? He's the smartest guy I know.
Craig, an hour before kickoff, we're in. Where we start walking. It's a little walk. A lot of traffic.
They left early to go inside. I missed them, right? But he says, here comes the excuses. But I wound up handing out a bunch of gear in the
Yep.
parking lot to a bunch of folks. So appreciate, all you guys hanging out with us. Sorry we ran a little bit long. Wednesday, 8 o'clock will be rush hour. It'll be the Truth Spartan Mike. That's Alex. That's Chris. We're out. We appreciate you guys. Boom. Download the Chuck app today. We'll have some fun. Challenge you every day to sports trivia. Can you beat me?